For 300 years, volcanology operated on fundamental independence. Each volcanic system responds to its own magma chamber pressure. Earthquakes might trigger one volcano if conditions are perfect. 7 simultaneous eruptions? Statistically impossible. July 29th, 2025 proved every textbook wrong. What began as a Kamchatka magnitude 8.8 mega-quake became a global volcanic network activation spanning 15,000 kilometers. Within 17 minutes, seven volcanoes erupted in a mathematical sequence. Within hours, North American Cascade volcanoes showed synchronized seismic pulses, a coordinated response to a mega-quake on the opposite side of the Pacific. Dr. Alexei Ozerov has been monitoring Kamchatka volcanic activity for 28 years. He told emergency coordinators that independent volcanic systems do not communicate across hundreds of kilometers. He said the mathematical timing, the coordinated eruption sequence, and the systematic pressure release represent network behavior in geological processes. But network behavior requires engineering. Coordination demands communication pathways. Mathematical precision indicates intentional design rather than random natural processes. Deep analysis reveals the mechanism. Pressure channels connecting ring of fire, magma chambers through Earth's upper mantle. Pre-existing pathways that allow megaquake energy to trigger volcanic systems in a calculated progression. Artificial infrastructure embedded within natural geological systems. Within 72 hours, global monitoring detected volcanic responses across the entire Pacific Ring of Fire. Cascade volcanoes pulsing in North America. Enhanced tremor activity in Japanese volcanic systems. Pressure anomalies in Indonesian magma chambers. Coordinated responses to a single seismic event. So what engineering creates coordination across 23 countries and 40,000 kilometers of volcanic boundaries? What mechanism turns independent magmatic processes into unified network behavior? And why are volcanologists abandoning 300 years of eruption science while implementing monitoring protocols designed for artificial communication systems? The Kamchatka Peninsula lies at the convergence point of tectonic powers, where the Pacific Plate subducts beneath the Okhotsk microplate at nearly 80 millimeters per year, creating one of Earth's most concentrated volcanic zones. For centuries, these volcanoes have existed as independent entities, each with its own evolutionary cycle, pressure threshold, and eruption timeline. Before July 29th, 2025, the scientific consensus was absolute. Volcanoes operate as independent systems. Scientists believed each had its own isolated magma chamber, distinct pressure dynamics, and unique triggering mechanisms. 300 years of meticulous documentation confirmed this pattern without exception. The peninsula hosts 160 volcanoes, 29 actively monitored by the Russian Academy of Sciences. Names like Kliuchevskoy, Shiveluch, and Bezimiany have become familiar to volcanologists worldwide. These geological sentries, standing like frozen sentinels along the peninsula, operated with predictable patterns, each following its own internal rhythm, disconnected from its neighbours. Standard volcanic monitoring relies on this fundamental principle. Each volcano's seismic signature correlates exclusively to its own magmatic system. Eruption forecasting depends on individual pressure build-ups, localized gas emissions, and isolated dome deformations. When one volcano erupts, its neighbors remain undisturbed, the backbone of volcanic science for centuries. Historic records from 1737 through 2024 documented over 400 individual eruptions across Kamchatka's volcanic systems. Not once, not a single time, did more than 2 volcanoes erupt simultaneously. And even those rare dual eruptions occurred in geographically connected systems never, spanning more than a few kilometers. Previous major seismic events confirmed this isolated pattern. The 1952 Kamchatka magnitude 9.0 earthquake, larger than the 2025 event, triggered no immediate volcanic eruptions. The 2006 magnitude 7.7 earthquake prompted exactly one volcano to show minimal activity 4 days later. The 2020 magnitude 7.5 earthquake triggered no volcanic response whatsoever. The correlation was consistent with global volcanic models. Major earthquakes rarely trigger eruptions, and when they do, it is usually isolated to a single volcanic system already near eruption threshold. As Dr. Vera Ponomarieva of the Institute of Volcanology and Seismology explained in her 2023 analysis, seismic events may occasionally accelerate a pending eruption in one volcanic system if magma chamber pressure already exceeds 95% of the critical threshold. Multiple simultaneous eruptions across disparate systems would require statistical impossibility, all chambers simultaneously at identical pressure thresholds. This understanding was not just academic theory. It formed the foundation of emergency protocols, evacuation plans, and volcanic monitoring systems worldwide. The independence of volcanic systems was considered settled science, an unshakable certainty in a field often defined by uncertainty. Yet beneath Kamchatka's tranquil surface, deep in the mantle, where observation remains impossible, something unprecedented was developing. A network awakening after centuries of dormancy. A system of magmatic communication that would shatter 300 years of volcanic understanding in just 17 minutes. July 29, 2025, at 11:24 and 50 seconds, AM local time, the Kamchatka Peninsula, convulsed as an A magnitude 8.8 mega-quake, ruptured the subduction zone 85 kilometers offshore. The sixth largest earthquake recorded since 1900, sent seismic waves rippling through the Earth's crust. Standard monitoring protocols activated, track coastal tsunami development, assess infrastructure damage, monitor nearby volcanoes for potential single-system triggering. No one expected what happened next. At precisely 11:27 and 15 seconds, just 2 minutes and 25 seconds after the main shock, Klyuchevskoye volcano violently erupted. Russia's tallest active volcano, showing only moderate background activity before the quake, suddenly generated lava fountains reaching 500 meters and an ash column extending 8 kilometers skyward. The eruption's explosive force far exceeded normal activity patterns, but initially appeared to follow established models, a single volcano responding to seismic triggering. Then scientific impossibility unfolded in real time. At 11:31 and 33 seconds, 4 minutes and 18 seconds after Klyuchevskoye's eruption, Shivaluk volcano, 85 kilometers to the north, explosively activated. Before the earthquake, monitoring showed no eruption precursors, no pressure buildup, no warning signs whatsoever. The volcano transitioned from dormancy to violent eruption instantly, generating dangerous pyroclastic flows across its flanks. 2 simultaneous eruptions represented extreme statistical improbability, but remained within theoretical limits. What came next defied theoretical limits. At 11:34 and 47 seconds, 3 minutes and 14 seconds after Shivaluk, Bezimiany volcano erupted with catastrophic force. Its summit dome, showing stable growth patterns with no collapse indicators, suddenly disintegrated in a massive explosive event. The eruption column pierced the stratosphere, reaching 15 kilometers in height. 3 simultaneous eruptions across separate magma systems had no historical precedent. But the cascade had only begun. From 11:38 and 22 seconds to 11:41 and 50 seconds, 4 additional volcanoes activated in sequence: Karimsky, Avachinsky, Koryaksky, and Tolbachik. 7 volcanoes across 480 kilometers, all erupting within a 17-minute window. The geographical progression followed precise north to south mathematical intervals. The timing showed exact periodicity: 4 minutes and 18 seconds, then 3 minutes and 12 seconds, then 3 minutes and 36 seconds between each activation. As volcanic monitoring stations processed the impossible data, a dark revelation emerged. These were not random coincident eruptions. They represented systematic activation following precise mathematical progression. A coordinated volcanic response spanning nearly 500 kilometers of the Kamchatka Peninsula. Dr. Alexei Ozarov's emergency assessment captured the unprecedented nature in 28 years of monitoring. Kamchatka volcanoes. I have never witnessed anything approaching this unprecedented pattern. Independent magma chambers do not synchronize across hundreds of kilometers. The statistical probability of 7 volcanic systems simultaneously reaching eruption threshold is effectively zero. This represents systematic triggering through coordinated network behavior. Statistical analysis confirmed the impossibility. For 7 volcanoes to erupt within 17 minutes by random chance, 0.0000002% probability. That the sequence followed precise mathematical intervals in exact geographical progression is statistically incalculable. Most alarming, none of the 7 volcanic systems showed precursor warning signs. Normal eruption sequences require hours to days of increased seismicity, gas emissions and deformation signals. These 7 volcanoes transitioned from background activity to full eruption with no intermediate warning stage, as if activated by external command rather than internal pressure dynamics. The Russian Academy of Sciences immediately declared a parade of volcanic eruptions, the first documented occurrence in nearly 300 years of Kamchatka monitoring. But this volcanic parade represented more than spectacular coincidence. It revealed something far more disturbing: coordinated network behavior from geological systems previously believed to operate independently. 6 hours after Kamchatka's volcanic parade began, seismic monitoring stations across North America detected something unprecedented. The Pacific Northwest Seismic Network reported unusual activity beneath Mount Rainier. Not earthquake aftershocks, volcanic tremor, rhythmic seismic pulses at 0.8 to 1.2 Hz, emanating from the volcano's magma chamber. Mount Rainier wasn't erupting. It was responding, pulsing in a precise rhythmic sequence, like a heart beating to an external stimulus. The tremor patterns matched no known volcanic activity profile. They represented something entirely new: a distant volcanic system responding to energy transmission from across the Pacific Ocean. 30 minutes later, Mount St. Helens began exhibiting identical tremor patterns, perfectly synchronized with Rainier's pulsations, despite being 80 kilometers apart. Within an hour, Mount Hood joined the synchronized response, expanding the network to span 200 kilometers of the Cascade Range. The North American volcanic response revealed the most alarming aspect of this unprecedented event. Volcanic systems across the entire Pacific Rim were responding in coordination to a single trigger event. Not random coincidence, systematic network behavior spanning 15,000 kilometers. Pressure wave propagation models confirmed the impossible: energy from the Kamchatka. Magnitude 8.8 earthquake was traveling through Earth's mantle along enhanced conductivity pathways. This was not standard seismic wave transmission, which dissipates rapidly with distance. These energy pulses maintained amplitude and coherence across oceanic basins, arriving with sufficient force to activate volcanic systems 15,000 kilometers from the epicenter. The evidence pointed to a disturbing conclusion: the existence of deep mantle pressure channels connecting Pacific Rim volcanic systems. Natural geology does not create such pathways. Random mantle convection produces chaotic structures without geometric precision. These channels exhibited engineered characteristics: consistent diameter, enhanced conductivity, geometric precision, and a network topology connecting specific volcanic nodes. The volcanic network beneath our feet has awakened. 7 eruptions,